There is a Democratic debate tonight on NBC and MSNBC. It's a partnership debate with the Nevada Independent. This is just a few days before the third primary of 2020, which is the Nevada caucus on Saturday. Now, as far as who will be participating, remember that we speculated the DNC might do this, and they did. At the end of January, the DNC said, we have no more individual donor requirement to qualify for the debates. This was very obviously a change that had the potential to allow Michael Bloomberg into the debates, and it has worked to allow Michael Bloomberg into the debates. I told you yesterday that because of Michael Bloomberg being in second place nationally in the latest NPR PBS Marist poll, Michael Bloomberg has qualified for tonight's debate. And very quickly, the narrative is becoming Bernie versus Bloomberg, the anti-billionaire or billionaire, as Bernie likes to say, against the uber billionaire, because Michael Bloomberg, far wealthier than Tom Steyer, far wealthier than Donald Trump. Now, very often the narratives that we are told about, the stories we are told about these debates are completely fake and fabricated. I remember that I think it was between the first and second Democratic debate where we still had like 12 people on the stage. Somebody, some network, CNN or whoever was running that second debate, promoted tonight, Beto versus Buttigieg or whatever, some fake story that no one actually cared about. Tonight, the implications are actually huge in terms of who goes up against whom, what sort of battles and enclaves and cliques start to develop, because there's a few possibilities for tonight. Does tonight become with Bernie as now the leader in just about every recent national poll, and Michael Bloomberg at his first debate, does tonight become Bernie versus Bloomberg with debates about billionaires and fairness and stop and frisk or whatever else? Is that the primary story tonight? Or does tonight become everybody gangs up on Bernie? In other words, the establishment candidates, Biden, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, maybe even Bloomberg, do they all gang up on Bernie to try to hurt him? Or do the establishment centrists recognize that the greatest threat to them is actually the introduction of Bloomberg, and maybe the DNC saying Biden's crashing, we don't want Peter Amy, let's go with Michael Bloomberg? So do the establishment centrists tonight not go after Bernie, but instead focus on Michael Bloomberg? We don't know. The participants tonight are Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Joe Biden, and Michael Bloomberg. So we will see what dynamics develop there, and it could go a few different ways. And in fact, if Michael Bloomberg continues to gain polling support, the DNC is going to have to make a decision. Will the DNC see Bloomberg as a possible savior from the declining Biden and an Amy Klobuchar who has some support but doesn't seem like really enough to get the nomination, and the Pete Buttigieg who, while he did well in Iowa and New Hampshire, lacks experience? What is the DNC going to do? So will the DNC shift from Biden to somebody else? And if so, who will they shift to? Again, Bloomberg in second place nationally now in some polls, third in an average of recent polls. What is his future going to be after presumably winning some delegates on Super Tuesday? And meanwhile, if you are the establishment, do you go all in on Bloomberg or ignore him altogether? That is a really significant decision that the DNC establishment needs to make, because it's going to set the tone for whatever strategy they are going to employ to try to deny Bernie the nomination between now and the convention. Remember, Tom Steyer is a billionaire, but far less wealthy than Bloomberg, far less prominent than Bloomberg, never really polling much at all. With Bloomberg now in the picture, we have the possibility of Bernie and Bloomberg squaring off on exactly the policies that Bernie would push, which would cost Michael Bloomberg a lot of money. Will anybody call Michael Bloomberg out, by the way, regarding the recent audio publicized of Bloomberg saying horrible things about black men and stop and frisk, or is that going to be ignored in tonight's debate? Will there be a question about that from the moderators? Bernie said at his rally Monday night that Bloomberg will not be allowed to buy this election. And it would be very interesting to see that confrontation and that topic come up firsthand. I hope you will join me live for a debate pre-show starting probably around 8:15 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We'll do about 45 minutes of pre-show. At the top of the hour, we will go to live debate coverage. We will be on YouTube and Twitch for the pre-show. Debate itself probably just on Twitch, and then back on both YouTube and Twitch for the post-debate analysis. Join me there. Let me know what you expect in tonight's debate via Twitter. I'm on Twitter @DPakman. Follow me and let me know what you're expecting in tonight's debate.